Hi everyone and happy Hanukkah. Welcome back to Sonya's Prep if you're new here. Today I'm going to take you along on how we celebrated the first night of Hanukkah. We're going to make Latkes together, my sourdough donuts, which were amazing. We're going to open up presents together and of course light the menorah. Now let's get started. If you watched last year's Hanukkah video, I did showcase these sourdough donuts, but I didn't record the actual recipe. So here's the recipe here for you guys. I'm going to be using fed starter over here. To a standing mixer, I'm going to be adding in 100 grams of proofed starter and 220 grams of cold milk and 2 eggs. To that then, I'm going to be adding in 60 grams of sugar and placing that into the bowl. I did show a little bit of a clip of me making these donuts on Instagram, and a few of you made a comment as to how I'm doing this after having a baby. And as you can see in the background, my mommy is with me, and that is the only way I function. So she was helping me a lot while she was with me, and that's the only way that I was able to make these donuts. To that, I'm going to be adding in 500 grams of bread flour and 10 grams of salt. While the mixer is going on medium speed, I'm slowly adding in the flour and salt mixture. And of course, in the description box, I will have the full written down version of this recipe for you. After that, I'm going to be adding in the butter. I'm adding in 100 grams of softened butter. You can just plop it all in at one time. Mine wasn't as soft as I would have preferred, so I'm adding it in slowly. After all of the butter is incorporated into the dough, I allow the mixer to keep going for about 15 minutes until the dough has this perfect consistency and passes the window pane test, which is happening right here. I then take out the dough, put it onto the counter, and do a few slap and folds like I'm doing over here and bring the dough all together. I then oil my bowl and place the dough inside and refrigerate it for 8 hours or overnight until I'm ready to work with it the next day. The next morning when I wake up, I take some parchment paper and cut them up into these squares so that I can place the perfect donuts right over the top of them. And the purpose of this is just to keep the donut shape perfect and not to deform the donuts when I'm placing them into the oil. As you can see, I take out the dough from the refrigerator and then I weigh out 50 grams of balls each and place them onto the parchment paper. As you see, my husband made sure I was sitting while I was making this, which was very sweet of him. So I'm going to just be doing that for all of the dough, and I'm going to be getting roughly 16 donuts from this recipe. And to make the donut shape, as you can see, I'm just pinching all of the corners together into the center and then using the palm of my hand and my thumb. I'm just rolling it out on my countertop and just making sure everything is seamless before I place them onto the parchment paper. I cover the donuts loosely with some plastic wrap and allow them to just sit on the counter for 8 to 10 hours for them to double and triple in size. When I'm ready to fry them, I place them into a good amount of oil. I'm using avocado oil, feel free to use any kind of vegetable oil. I fry them 2 to 3 minutes on each side, flipping them continuously and dipping them into sugar once they are done. And now it's time for the best part. It's to actually fill these delicious donuts. Obviously, you can fill them with whatever fillings that you like. I'm going to be doing some dulce de leche, which is my personal favorite. I'm going to be adding it into about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them and continuing to change up all the flavors how we perfectly enjoy them for Hanukkah. When I feel a little fancy, I do like to decorate them as well. So I'm going to be adding in some chocolate bars, Ferrero Rochers, dusting the jelly ones, and adding in some mini Oreo cookies to the cream cheese filled ones. The donuts are now done and they are the perfect treat for Hanukkah, where it's all about frying up foods and enjoying the oiliness of everything, commemorating the oil that lasted for 8 days in the temple when we won the war over the Greeks. Of course, what's Hanukkah without latkes? So I'm going to be using my hack here that I've shown you previously in my Hanukkah videos. I'm going to be making latkes, which are potato pancakes. I find that using a food processor does the trick and is much quicker and easier than using a box grater, but I know it's a highly contested thing, but I am absolutely happy doing it. I enjoy it this way. It's much faster and easier. I like adding in some scallions inside with 2 eggs. I had about 4 large Idaho potatoes here. I also season it with some garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. I give everything a very good mix and I fry them in some oil. I fry them until they're brown and crispy on both sides, and we in our family just enjoy them as they are. I know a lot of people like to enjoy them either with sour cream or applesauce, but I like to just make these as a side with something else. And as you'll see a little bit later on, we're serving mac and cheese tonight, and they were the perfect side dish for that. Now that the kids have been fed, we are ready to start lighting our Hanukkah menorah. Today was obviously day 1, and we all gathered around, said the blessing, lit the candles, and the kids all sang songs and danced around the table, as you'll see later on. They even got the little newest baby involved, and then we all gathered around and opened up our presents. Shai and I even got a present from our youngest daughter, and here we are opening it up. It was so sweet. She even wrapped it, and they did something cute in class, so it was just very, very sweet. After all of the gifts have been given out, it is donut time. And as you can see, the kiddos are extremely excited. We're going to be handing them out one by one. Everyone's gonna thoroughly enjoy them. Well, that's it for how we spent our first night of Hanukkah in our family. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope that this Hanukkah will bring forth a lot of miracles, brightness, and lots of light into this world that seems to be a little bit dark right now. I hope you guys have an amazing Hanukkah, from my family to yours.